Darwin and Katherine are expected to exit lockdown tomorrow after recording no new cases, thankfully, today. Let's go live to Matt Cunningham. Matt, what needs to happen now for this lockdown to end? Obviously, no more numbers.
Well, there are some wastewater tests that the government's expecting back from Darwin tonight and Katherine tomorrow. That should give a clearer indication as to whether the Northern Territory's dodged a bullet when it comes to this latest COVID-19 scare. Of course, we did go into lockdown for at least 72 hours as of Monday after a man who arrived here from the United States. He'd been in hotel quarantine in Sydney for 2 weeks and flew here last Thursday via Canberra. He returned a positive test for COVID-19. They expect the Delta variant of COVID-19 on Sunday. But Michael Gunner announced today no more new cases, and he's fairly confident we will come out of lockdown tomorrow.
At this stage, we are fairly confident that we can lift the lockdown tomorrow at noon and transition it to being open again, but with restrictions. Confident, but not completely certain at this stage. I can't give you a guarantee right now that the lockdown will end. I'm hoping to do that in the morning, but in preparation for that probability, we'll be working the rest of today on what the restrictions will look like once the lockdown lifts.
And Matt, questions are turning as to how this man caught the virus. Was it in transit, which would be a concern for some of the way things are operating at the moment?
That's right. The Chief Health Officer says that he's only recently contracted the virus, or at least that's what the testing shows, which means he probably didn't catch it in the United States and he probably didn't catch it in hotel quarantine. Now, given he went straight from hotel quarantine to the Sydney airport, then the Canberra airport, then to Darwin, that has opened the possibility that he may have caught it in one of those airports. That could, of course, have some national ramification as to how travel is managed between the states and territories. He's also still refusing to tell authorities whether or not he'd been vaccinated. That's something that the Chief Minister's not happy about.
Dr. Heggie, as a medical professional, respects the right of this person not to divulge that information. I don't respect that. I would like to know his vaccination status because it would help me as chair of SEMPSI in making some decisions about how transmissible was this person. So we know vaccinations reduce the risk of transmission. I would like to have that information.
Michael Gunner says, Kieran, that the Northern Territory is actively looking at the question as to whether it will allow people who are not vaccinated to travel to the Northern Territory in the future. I think that is going to be a question that all of the states and territories are going to be looking at down the track as we examine how we're going to try and live with this virus once we reach those levels of vaccination, 70, 80% that we expect. We'll see an end to the lockdowns that are really holding the country up at the moment.